Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old barn.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 41 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I'm your host, Magnificent Stan, otherwise known as Brian. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. And I swear to God, I didn't plan this, but recently people have been talking a lot about the 1990s. I don't know what happened on social media recently talking about 90s music, but I had planned this episode a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, and it just so happened that we're going to be doing 90s albums today. Joining me, first of all, we have from the Chicago Sports Bums, our Southside Bum, Johnny. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me. I can't wait to start drafting over here. You picked the right bum to do this. We were talking beforehand. I'm sorry, but they know it too. I have such a huge, music.
Dude, drag him, please. Please drag him a little bit.
Yeah, but no, Peter knows music as well too. So I'm not, trying to bust balls over here. But maybe I am.
Maybe I am. Right on. Also joining us, fellow Sadistic Penguin man of 1,000 shows, our guy Tony. What's going on, Tony?
What is going on? Thank you for having me.
Anytime I do a music one, you're first on my list. So.
I have put a lot, and even sitting here, I get nervous on these shows because did I make the right? I don't know if I'm making the decision or am I making the decision for I don't know what's going on. But tonight, I think I got it under control.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We the three of us did last year. We did a soundtracks draft, and we had a hell of a time with that. So this is kind of all up our alleys here. We are all in our early 40s. So we grew up in the 90s. So we grew up with the Nirvanas and the Madonnas of the world. So Tony, do us proud. Yes, Yumper. He's gonna drop you from at the show if you don't.
I know. I'm worried. I'm always worried people are gonna just we're gonna have a good time.
Okay,
hey,
Tony.
Confidence.
Yeah. I know. I'm ready. Got it. Confidence.
Well, Tony is still to this day the only one to ever take his pick back and then redraft.
Yeah, can you make me a shirt that says that? Redrafter.
I redrafted on Drafty Pod.
I got redrafted. Give me another. I love this shirt, man.
I'm in.
Buy these shirts, people. But no, yes.
Buy the shirts.
Yes.
Buy all our shirts. I got a 108 shirt on. Buy their shirts.
The cotton in these shirts, I don't even usually sleep with the shirt on, but I'm forced to with this shirt because it just feels so good.
You guys, Johnny, you guys are the ones that got us in the right direction on what brands to use for shirts. Baloney and them set me in the right direction on that, and it couldn't be happening.
Oh yeah, they're the ones who do all that stuff. I'm just the guy who they just poke and say, "Hey, do a next design."
Hey. Well, you're doing a hell of a job, but all right, let's get moving here. Tony, you did win the lottery. Let's see what you got, bro.
All right, let's get started with we're going to start in the grunge category. Okay, and we're going to start with an album from 1993. It was recorded in 2 weeks. A Chicago producer was at the helm at the board. His name was Steve Albini. To me, honestly, I think it's the last great grunge album. And I'm going to go with In Utero by Nirvana.
You had me at Steve Albini.
Yeah, I know. I was dropping little hints here and there.
Yeah.
This album actually resonates a lot more with me today than it did. And I got it for my birthday the year it came out on CD. And I think I still have the CD. But I don't know. Some of these songs, just knowing where they were going and where they ended up. Even a song like Dumb, just to me the music, and then you add Kurt and everything else. It's just great album. What do you guys think?
I'll let you start, Johnny. I'm kind of formulating my thoughts on this one.
I mean, out of all, I would say that probably is one of my favorite Nirvana albums. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do like Nevermind, and don't get me wrong, it is a great album, but it just in utero had so many good hits, and I just think that out of all the albums that they came out with, I think In Utero was probably the best one.
I don't think that.
Ooh,
okay.
I like In Utero. I'm not bashing it. My favorite,
Nevermind more probably, right?
Favorite Nirvana? No, actually, my favorite Nirvana album, Bleach. Yes.
Oh, you're the cool. You're the. Oh, I get it.
That's the first time I heard Nirvana. I have older siblings. My brother brought it home when I was freaking 11 years old, and I loved it. So I knew that album before I knew anything else from Nirvana. I don't want to sound like the cool guy. I'm not. My brother was the cool guy. So,
no, you're no.
My favorite Nirvana song actually is Francis Farmer Will Have a Revenge on Seattle, which is from In Utero. But I feel like just as a whole, I think, and if you're looking at the place that it has in rock history, Nevermind is key. I also love I love all their stuff, honestly, but I also
listen to Nevermind, which is great. They're all to me. I get in this all the time. I don't really like to pick one album better than this album. This album's better than that album. I like to, but that being said, for this pick personally, I'm thinking of again 2 Weeks, which I think Nevermind seems a little bit more polished than In Utero is. I could be wrong on that, but my pick, grunge.
I think another thing too is that David Grohl kind of said it best, is that when they first came out with Nevermind, a lot of the stuff that they took a lot from the Pixies. They were thinking it was just more of a rip off of so I think when
Sonic Youth too.
Yeah, so I think when In Utero came out, I think it was a little bit more of all right, that's a Nirvana type of sound. And I just actually, now that I scratch it, I do like In Utero as a studio album, but I think probably one of their best albums when they came out with is when they actually did MTV's Unplugged. I know it was a lot of, different combinations of different bands. But I definitely loved the Unplugged, MTV's Unplugged, because everything about it was incredible. I love the acoustic sound, the environment, that just everything was so iconic, especially one of the last songs when you saw his face, the camera was looking, and just kind of that was kind of his last hurrah before he passed away. So, but yeah, no, that's a good pick, Tony. I do like In Utero a lot.
Yeah, and I wasn't bashing it or anything.
No,
I love that album. I like Bleach, and I just it's more raw. You know what I mean? Was In Utero the first album they used Pat?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Pat Smear. Yeah.
Okay. I love Pat Smear.
Oh,
he's a genius. Germs, dude. Oh man, that stuff's amazing.
You got Germs vinyl?
I do. Actually.
Do you?
Yeah, awesome. I have a couple.
That's awesome, actually.
They're very hard to find, but I did get them.
They are.
So yeah, it's very
Tell me you don't know music. Look at that Germs
super loud. Tell me you don't. What I told Tony and Johnny before the show is I always feel like when I do music episodes, I'm inadequate with my knowledge of music, but then I have so much fun doing the music episodes and they turn out wonderful. So I'm just kind of in my head, just like Tony's in his head on this one,
I am.
But yeah, good pick. Let's keep moving, Johnny.
All right, so I'm probably gonna go grunge on this one as well too, and this is something where I kind of wanted to talk about. I think we'll talk about a little bit later because we were talking about genres and what band goes into what genre and what that. But this was pretty easy. I'm gonna go with Pearl Jam's 10. Pearl Jam, when they came out with this album, the videos of this album, obviously the most iconic one that they ever came out with was Jeremy, because it was so very controversial at the time as well too. Yep. And this was before,
Even Flow was an awesome video too.
Oh, Even Flow, Alive, Once, Why Go, Black, Oceans. I mean, I could go on and on. Obviously, I pretty much named the whole album at that point. Yeah. Yeah, 10 was definitely like a grunge album. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the other, like, I just mentioned I love the Pixies. Nirvana, could have been an easy one as well too. There's some other ones that I could have like picked, but 10 just resonated with me when it came out. I mean, like I said, the videos, the music, entitled about the music as well too. It just, a lot of it was just to me, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Release is one of my favorite songs in the whole world. Like, if I had like one song to listen to, I'm gonna listen to Release. So, definitely can't go wrong with that. I love Verses just as much as 10, but tremendously just iconic out. That run between, what was it, like 92 and 94 for them was
Yeah, I mean, and can I
insane.
say one other thing too? I mean, I think you guys remember this as well. Eddie Vedder right now, a huge Cubs fan, and all that. And now, like before, do you remember what hat he used to wear all the time?
The Sox cap.
Yep. He wore that Sox hat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. He wore it backwards. I mean, he wore it on SNL. He wore it on also MTV's Unplugged as well too. He was a Sox fan, man. Like I have this thing where he was a Sox fan because the Sox were good back in the early 90s. And then all of a sudden he kind of switched over and became a Cubs fan. So, but he was a Sox fan first.
I love when he sings the national anthem and he says, take me out to the ball game, and instead of peanuts, it sounds like, because of his deep ass voice, it sounds like he's saying penis. Buy me some penis and Cracker Jacks. But I'm one of those people that not a big fan of Pearl Jam stuff after like No Code or Vitalogy. After that, it kind of just started going downhill for them. In my opinion,
had a couple good songs on there, but yeah, it was just. I agree that I didn't like any of their like. After that, I didn't like any of their other stuff.
I have a ton of Pearl Jam live vinyl. Like it's.
Sadly, I'm not in my head on this one, and I'll have to disagree with both of you. Every album that they've had has at least 5. I mean, you can't take a band like Pearl Jam who comes out with a great album like Versus or 10 and then say their albums that don't have at least 3 or 4 or 5 good songs on them.
That's true. I mean, they're
not as good, nowhere near.
Well, also tastes adjust, tastes evolve.
But like 14 songs on a band that has this great album. Now they have 14 songs. None of them are good. It's like Metallica fans. They're no good anymore. They were good. Now they just stopped. They just stopped being good. Like all 14 songs. It could be.
All right.
But that's what I love about this. I love debating music.
I hear you. All right. I'm gonna go here. I am. So when I was making, I already told you guys this in the pre-show, I had a struggle with metal. My metal tastes were very 80s based. I was real into I love like Dio, and I love like Lemmy and stuff like that. I'm just not like a huge 90s metal guy. So I'm gonna go with the very obvious slam dunk metal choice and pick Metallica's Black Album.
That was gonna be my pop choice. You stole it. Seriously,
right.
would that have sold as my pop choice? I was gonna go with it.
So yeah, if you're a Metallica fan, if you're a metal fan, you fucking hate that album, but I'm not. So what the hell? There's at least 4 or 5.
I am a metal fan, and I'll fight somebody who says that album isn't any good. And I like Slayer.
Well, and you get those people who are like, "Ride the lightning, man!"
It's like what unfortunately, now you've stepped into my web, because this is where Pearl Jam is for some fans, where they're like, no, kill them all. When I hear some guy online the other day goes, let me tell you what the best Metallica album is. It's Kill 'Em All. His vocal style, his guitar style, it's perfect. And I'm thinking
there's my answer. There's my answer right there.
The great thing about the Black Album is the songs are just they're there. They're there on every album. But for an album that takes off and a lot of people buy it, I'm for the album quite a lot. I love that album.
I mean, I could see why people they have that argument when the Black Album came out. It was not their signature Metallica sound,
right? They deviated. Yeah, they pulled away from they softened a little bit.
Yeah,
They made
yeah.
it a little more accessible, which
But,
is
like,
okay.
Through
They
the
still-
Never,
It
Through
was
the
still
Never
hard
is
as hell,
pretty.
though. You know, like
There's heavy, fast stuff on there, like
right,
Through the
right.
Never.
But they did slow down a little bit. They did
Right.
They did some ballads in that one. So
Yes, it was more ballad type than
Right.
what
Fade
Right.
to
you
Black.
know,
Fade to
everybody
Black.
was always accustomed to with Metallica when their
One?
first albums came out. So I love the Black Album. I'm not one of those people that are just like, oh no, they changed, man, and all that. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But I could see the people's argument is that when they came out with that one, that became very radio friendly. That became more very,
it was definitely a lot more radio
top-ish
friendly.
in a type of way for a metal band. But no, I mean that's
They
definitely
didn't
a
even
good
have
choice.
bass on their last album, though. That wasn't really metal either.
Yeah.
And Justice for All, they cut the bass from the whole album. I mean, the thing about it is that if you're talking about from a popular standpoint, you can't. I don't think because if you go Ride the Lightning and then Master of Puppets and then Justice for all those albums are different.
They are.
They're all taking a
They're
step
absolutely way different.
And to be fair, their last two albums, they're just as heavy as those first albums. They just don't sound as good.
You're talking about the ones that they're doing now?
Yeah, because they're trying to be like they were a long time ago. And it's not working because, well, it's
They're
good.
Fucking,
But again,
fucking 70 years old. I mean,
yes, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think with the Black Album, you could, at my age, I don't know if I could be playing Slayer type fast. If I was in a Slayer band, I'd have to slow it down every night. Even bands like Meshuggah, who play really, really, really fast, can't play their fast stuff anymore because the guys are like 50. You get to that point that, but shout out to Napster, yes.
When I first started downloading music, I made it a point of downloading Metallica just to fuck with them.
That was good. That was a good choice.
Right on. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna get my pop one out of the way too. It's either gonna be controversial or people are gonna be like, this is a really good pick. I'm gonna wrap up the Yumper vote with this one. I'm gonna go Depeche Mode Violator.
Oh, good choice.
It's one of my favorite albums of all time. And it had that like synthy kind of poppy sound to some of it. Some of it was rock. Some of it was kind of a little all over the place. But yeah, I mean, Enjoy the Silence, World of My Eyes, Personal Jesus. It's a masterpiece in my opinion.
It is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I agree so much that was like one of my pop ones as well too.
So then I'm not crazy. I thought I was crazy.
No,
I can't pick Depeche Mode as a pop album, but it was. I mean, it was.
No, but it definitely was. Like I definitely. I mean, the sound of it was definitely different than their other stuff that they came out with. I mean, it was. I don't know if that was like really one of their best albums of all time in their discography. That's personally, it's one of mine. I mean, I love pretty much the album from front to end. So, damn it, Brian, that's such a good choice.
I'm winning this draft this week.
No, you're not. I still haven't picked my other one. So,
I always blow it on purpose. Come on, or do I?
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, let's go round two, buddy.
All right. So for my metal one, I'm going to go pretty metal over here, and I'm going to go with Pantera's "Cowboys from Hell." When they came out with that one, they were very more of like a glam, like hair metal, like as Brian likes it, the hair metal type of like versions of music, and they switched it to become a little bit more hardcore.
Brian likes it. Come on, guys.
Hey man, you said Dio, so I'm gonna bust your balls, man. I'm sorry.
Dio's a freaking legend, man.
But
he invented 666. Come on.
But the opening track of Cowboys from Hell is Cowboys from Hell. Like it's definitely a grabs you fucking by the balls. You're fucking like rocking and shit. Like if you're a metal fan, you definitely love that track. Yeah. Psycho Holiday, Cemetery Gates. It's a little bit more of like a balladed type of like song. Domination as well too, but just everything like Dimebag Darrell is fucking great on guitar, Vinnie Paul on drums, and obviously the rest of the band are just fucking great as well too. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Cowboys from Hell. I mean, just it's such a metal like. And it was very early on as well too when they when they broke up apart from that glam rock. So I just think that when they came out with that, they just kind of like
they found their sound at that point.
They found their sound and they just ran with it. So
yeah, they had a few really good albums in the 90s. Most of the lists I was looking at for metal put Vulgar Display of Power higher on the list than Cowboys from. I was actually surprised by that because when I think Pantera, I think Cowboys from Hell, but I also think Walk. So like Walk is from Vulgar Display of Power. So
yeah,
as a huge Pantera fan, seeing him 4 or 5 times, I would say that Far Beyond Driven, the third album from like 90s, is, if you're talking about heavy,
94. Yeah,
I mean, because Cowboys from Hell to me is their Black album. Because, and this is where a huge debate going to get started, but like to me, Enter Sandman, if you've never heard the song before, takes off a lot more than the Cowboys from Hell. But that's just me, because he's going Cowboys from Hell. There's still too much screaming in the Pantera, which is the '80s stuff, which I get.
That's Walk baloney.
But now Domination and Primal Concrete Sledge, those songs are really awesome on Cowboys from Hell. It's a good CD.
I want to real quick. I want to point out, Johnny, you were 100% right in saying that you were the right bum for the show because he said he only knows the Rob Van Dam song. All right. Well, Baloney did provide us a list, and in the list he put, "I don't know anything about metal." So there we go. All right, Tony.
Okay, I don't know if this is going to fit here because it just came to my mind sitting here. We're going to go for hip hop, and we're going to go Rage Against the Machine's debut album.
Hip hop, huh?
Trying to fit it in somewhere, and just again, the rhymes.
Self-titled, right?
Yeah. See the silence right there. It's got me being like I was before. I like the pick because, can I change? You know what? I want to be the person to change this 2 times because it didn't go the way that I was hoping this worked out. So can I have the pick that I wrote down on my paper, please? I'm sorry. You can put 2 times.
Johnny, is it okay? I'm fine with it, but we need a consensus.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be perfectly honest, like I would say Rage is not really like R&B or hip hop. It's more like like rock. It's more like
I would say any of the other 3 categories. It fits into though. That's where it's like you could call it rock, you could call it metal, you could call So I okay. What were you gonna do, Tony? I'll take it off.
Wu-Tang Clan's 36 Chambers.
Shit. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second.
See, look what I caused. It's me, right? Did I do this?
No. Why did it go away? Hang on 1 second.
Much better.
There we go. Okay, so Wu-Tang.
I was trying to see, right? That was like you call me for balk right there. I was trying to list. Great album though. I love Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers. Again, to me, it's because Old Dirty Bastard, man. The track Method Man, that's a great track on the album. I don't know if any of you 2 own the vinyl of this album by chance.
I don't. I never got into Wu-Tang, and I don't know why. I just never did. Like, just one of those.
It's one of those things where, again,
right.
Never too late. It's a really
right.
Awesome
no,
album,
yeah,
really good stuff. But that's why I'm picking it.
All right. Let's go. You got another one here.
All right. Then I will go with
Rage
metal.
Against the Machine.
No, I'm not picking that. I'll go with pop, and I'll go with Dr. Dre's The Chronic. Because your pop, we talked before, popular. Is this popular at records or is this pop?
That's whatever you want to define it. Honestly,
This one, I'm gonna define it as popular records, and I'm gonna define it as.
I'm okay with that. That was
a
a record that sold more than any hip hop album probably ever at that point. So yeah, no, that's fine.
So again, I picked it again. Lots and lots of good tracks on the album.
It's a damn masterpiece. Another one.
Remember the cutout in the window at like the Sam Goody and Musicland? It's pretty cool back in the day.
I just love like Dr. Dre
on a leaf, and you're like, "What's that?" I don't know.
Dr. Dre pulled from George Clinton so much from that album. So did Snoop in that era. Like they just loved to pull like Parliament stuff out and sample the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
And it always it endeared me to it. Like because I love Parliament. Like I've been listening to Parliament since I was a kid. You know. The
music video had even Parliament in the beginning.
At the Let Me Ride. Yeah.
I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, they were at Riot Fest last year. They were kind of shitty.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, George Clinton's like 90 years old, so it makes sense. All right, Tony. Or Johnny, excuse me.
Yeah, you guys are maybe I should have thought this thoroughly when I was going up against you guys with Tony. You took my ones I thought, but I do have a backup for that hip hop one. So well, I would say rap as well too, because I so I'm gonna go with Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style.
Yep.
I mean, that was such a classic, like MTV loop videos and all stuff like that. Gin and Juice was one. Obviously, Who I Am as well too. What's My Name? Lottie Dottie, Murder Was the Case. Ain't No Fun as well too. I mean, that's just such a classic, Snoop Dogg video. And obviously, it kind of correlates to what like the Chronic as well too, because there was such heavy airplay at the time as well, and radio play as well too. I mean, when the Chronic came out, I mean that's kind of like basically when Snoop was coming out as well too, and so yeah, I'm gonna go with Doggy Style, Snoop Dogg.
Do you remember the insert of the CD by chance?
The what?
Do you remember like the insert for the CD? It was like a cartoon. It was
yeah.
It was like rated like real hard. It was awesome. That was really cool back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I'm up here. Well, I'm gonna go first with my hip hop one. We talk about like music evolving and sound evolving, and this is a group that kind of pulled from everything to put together. I think is an absolute fucking bomb of an album. I'm gonna go with Fuji's The Score.
Ooh.
Just phenomenal.
Ready or not, here I come. We're gonna fun. That's a good song.
Yeah, I mean, with Wyclef, obviously Lauryn Hill, they just pulled a little bit of everything and it mashed it together, and it worked out really, really well. I don't think I would ever draft Limp Bizkit, so don't worry about it, boy. Yelper's already yelling at us for no Nas. Okay. Gotcha.
Nas.
Hey, I like that album too.
It's a good album.
Yeah. I just don't think it's up there with, like Snoop Dogg or The Chronic. I mean, I'm not saying it's
like, would you put like, which none of us picked, but would you put any Beastie Boys albums up?
See, that was my backup. If one of you guys took the Fugees, I was going to take Ill Communication for sure.
Yeah, Beastie Boys is good. Yeah,
I can see Hello Nasty on this list.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hello Nasty's really good too.
It's tough. It's really that's why this is a tough.
What's your favorite Beastie Boys album?
That's tough. Paul's Boutique, probably off the top of my head.
I go Check Your Head, but
that's a great album too. That was going to be my first.
There's another group. They never did a bad album. No. Even like the some old bullshit stuff with all their weird like hardcore and punk stuff from the 70s. It's like,
I think it was like 2003. My college roommate at Ball State drove like all the way to United Center to see him, and I should have went because that was the last fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah. I there's a record I gotta play for you when you come over, Tony. It's called The Beastles.
Ooh.
And a DJ took the Beatles and the Beastie Boys and mixed them.
Ooh.
And it's It
cool.
plays really well, actually.
That's really cool.
I'll have to play that for you. But yeah, that was my initial like pick. But then as I started to think more, I'm like, the Fugees was just groundbreaking. So I went that direction. I also had a conversation today, like racking my brain over which Tribe Called Quest album was best. And I ended up talking to My Sock Summer a little bit today about it.
Real quick though, what do they call the style of music that Limp Bizkit played?
Like rap rock type.
There you go. So that's where
I mean, you could even call that metal because they played pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was considered like new metal. New metal.
Yeah. It was had a couple.
You could put Faith No More in that category.
That's true too. That's true too.
But all right, I'm gonna go grab my rock album. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab. I'm gonna make Yumper happy again. But this is really like one of my favorite few albums ever, and I'm gonna Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Oh, trying to win his heart over. Look at this.
We had conversation. This isn't even his favorite one, so
I know. I have his one right here. By the way, I got it here.
I just got it on vinyl. It's on the holder right now, but the logo's holding. The logo's blocking it.
Great.
So yeah, I mean, take out Under the Bridge. Give It Away. That whole album is just. I don't know how else to describe it. Just, Power of Equality, Suck My Kiss, Could Have Lied, Metal Ship Slinky and B Major is one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah.
One of my favorite songs is Breaking the Girl.
Breaking the Girl
is that drum breakdown. Can we do that at the tailgate?
Hey, Peter's
I mean, just great album. Just great all around. I like the title track too. Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Good track, man. I remember still when do you guys remember when you used to buy the CDs and it came in like the boxes?
Yep.
And I remember seeing like the law. I should have saved some of those because those were actually the amount of paper they used in all those boxes. That's why they got rid of them and put them in that plastic.
Yeah.
I only know the Beavis and Butthead song. Roller coaster.
Oh, okay. I thought that's Wayne's World. I was gonna say Sick of Mick and Nico.
Song from Coneheads.
I will say I do like that album, but I think one of my favorite Chili Peppers albums was Californication.
Mm-hmm.
When they came out like back in that was like on 1999 when it came out, and it was just again another album I could listen to from beginning to end. I mean,
at the ball game on Saturday, Yumper had told me about your conversation, Brian, about both albums, and I said what Johnny said. I would have went personally with Californication. The second half of that album is
Californication's phenomenal, but
they're all good. That's what's tough
even
about
their old
pick.
Stuff with like again another George Clinton influence. He produced 2 of their albums.
I mean, I'm looking at all of these albums here. I've owned every album, so it's not like I could look and go, "Oh, this album's not good." Like,
was Blood Sugar Sex Magic Rick Rubin?
Yes.
Okay. That was their first Rick Rubin album, though, I think.
Yes, you could be right.
I think Uplift Mofo Party Plan was George Clinton.
Mother's Milk, I think.
Oh, Mother's Milk was Rick Rubin.
That's where they got started with Rick Rubin.
Okay. Yeah. He helped them do a couple jams, man. All right, Johnny, what do you got?
All right, so we were talking about like genres of where bands go in the 90s, especially when it was like grunge, it was rock and alternative rock and whatnot. For my rock one, I'm gonna go with the Smashing Pumpkins double album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. A lot of people do like Siamese Dreams. Don't get me wrong; it's such a great album. Yeah, it's such a great album. But when they came out with this, they had a lot of criticism going into it because it was a double album. A lot of people didn't think that they were gonna sell a lot, and it became a huge hit. Obviously, Tonight was such a big song back in the day when it came out. The music video as well too. Excuse me, Jelly Belly. Here's no why no an ode to no one. Bodies, Zero, 1979. I could go on and on with the double album. I had to pick it up on vinyl when it came out. I was all excited when it did.
You spent like $900 on it, right? Because
I
that's
did
how,
not spend that much. It was actually very, very
wow. Because all the Smashing Pumpkins vinyl is super pricey for new vinyl. Like it's like $50, $60, $70, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, it definitely just everything about it. Like I said, they were criticized when they came out with it after when Siamese Dream, when they came out with Siamese Dreams, and that was their next one. That they didn't think they were going to do too well, and to me, they killed it. I actually met Billy Corgan on a metro train one time when he was headed to go see Rush. I was able to take a picture with him as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so he's a real cool guy. I mean, I couldn't really talk so much to him because he was with somebody, but for rock, I would say I could have went a different route too, because I mean, like I said, I could have definitely went with Californication as well too. Another band I really liked that was huge when they came out with which was Oasis. Oasis came out with Morning Glory, was such a big hit when they came out. So I'm gonna go with Smashing Pumpkins here.
Great album. Track on the second disc, 33. You can turn the lights down low and listen to that one. If the song's just awesome. Great album. Love double albums. I like a lot.
Me too. Don't split them like fucking Guns N' Roses did, assholes.
No, you're right. Definitely don't, because I ended up with part 2 before part 1. So I started backwards. But that's a good pick.
I actually listened to both today just because I was like, should I put it on my metal list? No.
I got it down here, that's what's tough. It's tough though, because some would go, that's not metal.
Well, could you draft Chinese Democracy? Because they did record it in the 90s. It just didn't come out until like 2020 or whatever.
I'd like to pick the spaghetti incident.
Spaghetti incident. Isn't it just nothing but covers?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're all like punk covers too. It's not like you'd think they'd stay safe and do like Rolling Stones and like Aerosmith.
What's the weirdest cover album ever? I go Danzig sings Elvis.
That's pretty weird.
That Weezer one that came out a couple years ago, they did nothing to put their spin on any of those songs. They just played everything note for note. Like the tempo was the same. Everything was the same.
Oh, I know.
It's like, what do you guys do? Like, and Rivers is a talented dude. Like, what are you doing, man? Cash grab.
They did that Apocalyptica where it was like Metallica, but they were all like on string instruments. That one don't usually see that.
All right, Tony, you got your last 2 here.
All right, I'll start with my rock here. Oh, this is tough. I mean, this is tough.
I had a hard time with it too. I did. I had a really hard time.
Well, there's like 4 I want to really go with here, but let's go with rock. I'll go with Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
That was my grunge one. I was sitting on it. You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. I could change it for a 3rd time.
No.
Great album.
My first concert was Soundgarden during that tour.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Another album loaded front to back. Reminds me, I like all of the different sounds. There's a lot of different sounds.
It's all over the place. Yep.
And that's what I think they were good with. And Pearl Jam's really good with that too. They both are good at like Pearl Jam's 10 reminds me of an album from a long time ago, filled with lots of sounds, lots of guitar pieces. And I think that's what's missing from their newer music. It's not as atmospheric as their old original stuff. Where Soundgarden Super Unknown, the album is hugely atmospheric. And I love the albums before it.
Bad Motorfinger is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean it's great.
I had the brief idea of drafting with my first 2 picks. I was going to take Super Unknown for my grunge and Bad Motorfinger for my metal, but I thought that'd be overkill. But
let me tell you what my next one is. It's Bad Motorfinger.
That's fine. Bad Motorfinger to me is the best 4 tracks to start an album ever.
It is. It's great. I love Slaves and Bulldozers. That song's awesome. Okay, metal. All right, this is. I'm gonna go.
Are you in your head?
I am always
just keep in mind, Tony. After we're done, we're gonna talk about whatever else is on your list. It's not like
I'm gonna go with one of my favorite metal albums of all time. It may be debated as not a metal album, but I'm gonna go with Tool's Enema.
Yep.
Okay.
That was on my list.
It's for me at the time, because at the same time period, I'm listening to Slayer and Pantera and Korn's first album. This was completely different.
Yep.
And then honestly, I bought the album and honestly, I listened to Stinkfist and then it sat there for like a couple weeks.
Yep.
And then I got lucky and I got to go to Lollapalooza 97 and I was there to see like Korn and Snoop Dogg was there. Tool was the headliner and I had the album, but it was like, okay, I'll see what they're about. Show blew my wig back. I understood everything that they were doing. And
did you actually physically see Maynard?
Well, yes, he was physically dressed, which was awesome. He was like all in blue and there was a black light on the stage.
Yeah.
So he was like glowing and it was the Enema tour. So when they're playing like Eulogy and a lot of the longer songs, see, that was my problem, was that I think as a youngster, I wasn't like, oh, I could sit here to a 7-8 minute song, where now even on their last album, there's 11-minute, 12-minute song.
There's like a 22-minute song on that one.
And
it's cool though. Like that album blows your mind.
But then again, I also know it's not the kind of metal where you're like driving down the street, like walk and banging your head, but it's something that I always really, really enjoyed.
I sometimes ask people, are you a Tool or a Perfect Circle?
That was always a good conversation to have back in the day.
You're a Perfect Circle, aren't you, Johnny?
I mean, I like Tool. Don't get me wrong, but when they came out with that, what was it? Their first album, A Perfect Circle. I had something I got on vinyl. I fell in love with it.
It's good. I mean, it's good. I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying, like, there's two different types of people in this world.
Well, you can say the same thing with
can we all just get along?
Yeah, you can say the same thing with like Slipknot. It was like Slipknot, and then when what's his name, Corey
Stone Power.
Exactly. It was two totally different things,
Yeah, and that's what's also cool, is because he's also got a third thing called Pussifier, and they're coming to town with like Primus, and Maynard's always, doing stuff, and
it's like the dude.
To see it.
Father John Misty was also in Fleet Foxes.
Yeah,
different sounds altogether. I'm going to see Father John Misty in September.
Are you? Where's he playing?
There's some really good Allstate. There's some really good shows coming to Allstate. That the same like 2-week span. It's like Weezer with Dinosaur Jr. and the Pixies, and then Father John Misty. I can't remember who's playing with him, but something really good too. So, but yeah, it's funny to see them totally change their sound and move on to something different with a different group of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to Swan? Billy Corgan, like the band he came out with?
No, I never listened to it.
Yeah, I could never get into it.
Did you ever listen to Ugly Casanova, the dude from Modest Mouse?
No, I have not.
He started his own band called Ugly Casanova and created his own character, and everybody didn't know it was him for like a year. And he sounded exactly like him. It sounded exactly like Brock. Like,
it reminds me of when Garth Brooks came up with that Chris Gaines album.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget going to like Walmart, and there's like 700 Chris Gaines CDs because nobody bought it, but Walmart ordered like an exuberant amount for everybody.
Well, there was a Saturday Night Live episode where Garth Brooks was the host and Chris Gaines was the musical guest.
So stupid.
So funny. He's a weirdo, man. He's great though.
Yeah, just on John Oliver this past week, he did this little clip. It's like, why is Garth Brooks weird? And it was like all these little clips.
Yeah.
All these little clips of him and his new show he's got online of like the way he talks, and it's hilarious. You should bring that up now because it was just on the show.
Brandy and I will every once in a while watch his wife's cooking show, which is pretty good. So, all right, Johnny, what do you got for your last one, man?
So this is kind of tough because you already took my pick. I'm kind of pissed off. And I already told you what happened beforehand, but I I got to go Mariah Carey. Right. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, honestly, I would back
Christmas album.
Christmas album. Yeah. I can't.
I have Boys to Men 2 on my list over here. So
well, if you didn't pick it, yeah, I was gonna pick that one because that Boys to Men, that one that they came out with too, was such a big hit.
That was a good album.
I mean,
I think you guys might kick yourselves in the ass when I tell you what my backup pop album was.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of them. Like, obviously Madonna was still big in the 90s. I mean, huge in the 90s. I could have went that route. But this Boys to Men one, I mean, they, Thank You, All Around the World, Jezebel, I'll Make Love to You, I'm Bending Knee, Yesterday. I mean, it was like a banger after banger after banger after banger. A lot of radio play, a lot of video play as well too on MTV. That was like the height of the Boys to Men when they came out with that album. I know that became really huge when it came out.
I mean, you're talking to somebody who's like in the deep of Metallica at this point. And honestly, I'm Bending Knee, I'll Make Love to You. These songs have stuck in my head for 30 years, and I never owned the album. But like
the harmony is amazing.
Yeah, when it sticks in my head for 30 years, I look back and go, that had to have been really awesome. And it was a great album, that Boys to Men.
Brandy's first concert,
before
Boys
that
to
was
Men.
good too. Boy, the album before that was, Motown Philly's back again. The album before that's got a couple good jams.
That was a jammer.
Yep. Boys.
Okay.
That is true.
I'm gonna use Missy's response here. Thank you, Peter. All right. Last pick. I got grunge. God damn it. All right, I'm gonna go Alice in Chains, Dirt.
That's what I was gonna do for the metal. So I'm glad you picked it. Because I didn't know if it was really going to be metal.
I was going to take World. So this is where I want to come into this whole thing, because it's like the same thing, like how they lump a lot of grunge in, and how Brian, we talked about this beforehand. Is like how would you describe this as a metal? How would you describe this as grunge? Because Alice in Chains, when they came out, and I love Alice in Chains, absolutely love them. Dirt is one of my favorite albums of all time. Unplugged is, if you never listen to Unplugged, I think it's definitely one of the top ones that they did. Versus, I would go that against Unplugged's Nirvana. I just think that those two.
There's a lot of good Unplugged ones that nobody really remembers or knows about. Do you remember Arrested Development did a Unplugged, and that was phenomenal. So there's a lot of really, really, really good Unplugged stuff. But yeah, I even have a list from someone that picked Alice in Chains as their metal. This album is their metal album.
The reason I say that is because they started off touring with like Slayer and Pantera, like Tom Araya, singer Slayer's on Dirt. I mean,
and they stayed heavy the whole time too. I mean, it wasn't like,
to be fair, okay, I could say like Down in a Hole isn't very metal, but like Them Bones, that song's pretty heavy. But again, it depends on what kind of heavy we're talking about.
Yep.
Because Cowboy, I mean, honestly, the song Cowboys from Hell is a whole lot different heavy than like some of that stuff on Far Beyond Driven, like 5 Minutes Alone, but it's still metal. It's still just different, and that's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not normally titled metal. So it's understandable when someone's like, it's always been known to be more in the grunge, but their albums all sound pretty different, I think. Because like if you're talking about the album with the dog on it, that sounds a lot different than this album, and
it does. It does.
So when we were talking about like bringing up the genres. I mean, another thing I wanted to point out is like alternative as well too. Like what would you put in as alternative? Like
right. That's kind of what I wanted. That's why I wanted to do grunge, because I wanted everybody to kind of define it themselves. I didn't want to just kind of wanted to see what would happen.
Because
you know what I mean?
because no, because I am
Yeah.
looking in the comments, and Missy is saying women should also be on the list too. And there is one person that I absolutely loved back in the '90s, and it was in the alternative section. And it's Alanis Morissette.
That was the other pop one. I was saying you guys are gonna kick yourselves in the ass, but
yeah, because when Jagged Little Pill came out, I mean that was another like iconic airplay, video play. I mean, just a lot of it. I mean, I could go on with that. I mean, it just was just such an iconic album, and obviously, to me, it was one of her best albums. It was, by far.
Jagged Little Pill is brilliant. That whole thing is just top to bottom phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, when you're thinking of like, you were thinking about like, the genres and all that, like, I was kind of more thinking of alternative and whatnot. So, obviously, if we're going to talk about women, no doubt as well, too.
I was just about to point that out, Gordo. Thank you. Missy, I have the food.
There's another woman on the list.
Well, yeah, there's another woman on Smashing Pumpkins as well.
There you go.
Yeah, Darcy.
Yeah.
So technically Tony's the only one that's sexist. So
yeah, I guess so. I got Old Dirty Bastards, I mean, that's a good album.
It is. They didn't do anything good after that one.
That's fair. But
I had the Cranberries on my list too. That was
okay,
another,
but then the question is right now, then off the top of your heads, name me 5 besides Alanis Morissette. Give me some. Let's. What are some more? Mariah Carey is great.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston
was amazing.
Sarah McLachlan, Sheryl Crow, Bjork.
That's a good one.
Bjork was very like, that's somebody that I wouldn't,
I don't know Madonna. I'm not familiar.
Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott, yeah. Missy Elliott.
Yeah, Shania Twain, yep.
Excellent.
I don't know why I'm like drawing a blank over here.
Sheryl Crow.
I already mentioned Sheryl Crow. Okay.
I like to say her again. The Cranberries.
Do we mention Lauryn Hill?
Well, I drafted Lauryn Hill. No, I actually had under my pop list, I had the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill because that was one of the biggest albums of the decade, I think.
Oh yeah, Hole. I mean, that's another one too.
Hole Lived Through This, great album.
That is a pretty good album.
There was this other girl. She was from Liz Phair.
Yeah, Liz Phair.
I've
seen Liz Phair live. She's really good.
She's from Chicago.
TLC. I had Crazy Sexy Cool on my pop list.
Oh my gosh, TLC was
a great album.
That was another one. That was another band like that was huge. Salt and Pepper. Ever remember that?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Spinderella.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go through dump lists real quick. You know what? Let's do lists first. First, I wanted to mention our buddy, not Larry. He started to work on a list. He didn't give me the completed one, but he just put 2 of his favorite '90s albums. He put Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory, and then Gin Blossom's New Miserable Experience.
Great albums.
So yeah, those are great. In that era for sure. Okay, let's go with Baloney's list first. So he did his own alternative rock list, but Offspring smash for his rock album. Grunge, he put Bush, 16 Stone. That would be a conversation as to whether that's grunge or not, but yes, for sure.
I mean, I think that's alternative, but like, Okay.
I would say again, I'm putting myself.
It had that sound because it was harder.
I'm putting myself
but
right there when it was released. What they were marketing it as.
Right.
These guys were the next coming of Nirvana. That's what they were telling everybody. The guitar
anything
sound
for Salinas,
and that's why it's like. But then again, it doesn't sound as grungy.
All right, just let him have it so he doesn't cry.
I
will say Third Eye Blind's self-titled album is a really good album.
Third Eye Blind, yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Offspring Smash.
I love that one.
That's
From
a good one.
beginning,
It's a
another
good
one. That's
album,
another
yeah.
one from beginning to end.
Bad Habit. That song is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They're also a great band live.
I
as
never
well,
got
too.
into Third Eye Blind. I don't know why. I never did. Just one of those.
It's again, it took me a little while.
Yeah.
But-
All right, let's go over to. You keep talking, Tony.
No.
Oh, okay. And then this is
More of
Mailman
him saying
Jack.
Tony put Dre in pop category. Get the fuck out of here. Oh.
I was Tony Baloney. I wasn't saying it didn't belong in that list, but it's a conversation. That was why I did the whole grunge thing, because I kind of wanted that conversation. So, good job. You helped open the door. Yeah, REM Monster's phenomenal. But yeah, he put Farouk Assault. That was a question he asked me. He's like, is Farouk Assault grunge?
Real quick before we go, definition of pop is music that is contemporary form music that appeals to a wide variety of audience. If that broke down the walls of hip hop and so many people listen to it,
I agree.
Pop. But go on.
I was a teenage white kid that used to listen to just nothing but Soundgarden, and I got Dr. Dre the Chronic. So if that doesn't define pop, I don't know.
That's really what it is. Yeah, no.
Right. But yeah, I liked Jack's list. He mentioned to me that Matthew Sweet was like the loudest musician he's ever heard live.
Very
so,
awesome.
But yeah, the Farouk Assault is grunge. He asked me that question. I'm like, okay, like it's got that same like, I don't want to say style because grunge doesn't really have a style to it. It's more of a
attitude.
It's a mindset. I don't know how to describe, but and then finally I have a list from who wanted to be on the show, but she's actually recording another podcast for I believe the Southside Sox, whatever they're doing. But this is from Jackie. This is a hell of a list.
That is a hell of a list. En Vogue. I forgot about En Vogue.
Oh yeah, En Vogue. Yeah, they were really good.
That was good. That's a good album right there.
Absolutely.
See, if Jagged Little Pill. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, Vitology. I like Vitology, but I don't like it as much as the other two, and then that were before it. But yeah, another just banger from Pearl Jam in the '90s. So.
Right, that Rage Against the Machine album, man. Great hip hop album.
I think we have to make it a point every time you're on from now on, Tony, that you have to change your mind at one point.
I'm gonna start recording myself doing this list because you're gonna be like, dude, just fucking write something down, man. Fucking.
All right.
I don't do this for the hookup on music. I don't do this for at the show. This is the only time where I feel like palms are sweaty. What am I picking? It's just us having a good time here. I love it.
The draft creates the conversation. We don't have to set up segments or any of that.
No, I love it.
All right, let's go. What was the question I wanted? Oh, is there an album that you loved in the '90s that you hate now?
See, I was thinking about that, and I can't think of one where I'm just like, I hate this now because I mean I don't know.
Usually the things I love, I don't just like can't drop them like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. The only one I can think of is I was real into MC Hammer when I was like 12.
That's what I was gonna say.
So Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em was freaking classic, man. I Say You Pray just to make it today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I could see that one. Vanilla Ice was that in the 90s yet? Yep.
Absolutely.
Those were my first two tapes right there.
Whenever at work we have our loudspeaker for our sales team, we play music in there because it gets them moving. And whenever Under Pressure plays, my boss and I always look at each other and go, "It's got that little bitty ting on the end." Like listening to Vanilla Ice. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh no, I saw it. Yeah,
Vanilla Ice explains.
But yeah. I've seen that video.
And then Suge Knight hung his ass outside a window and he stepped away. But all right. What's your favorite soundtrack from the '90s that had actual songs from that decade?
Oh. Well, now that changes everything.
Were you gonna go Dazed and Confused again?
Yeah, or I would have went like Forrest Gump as well too, because that was such a great album as well too. I mean, that's kind of hard now.
I go The Crow.
That's about I'm like now I'm
Judgment Night's a
scrambling
good
for my
one.
list here.
I even on my
But
grunge
Judgment
list,
Night
I
would be it.
put the single soundtrack on my grunge
That's a
list.
good one.
So,
Come
anything
on,
else?
all the good albums, like if you, I'm not good movies that came out like Casino or Bronx Tale. It's all old music. I mean, that stuff came out in the '90s. I mean, they just had great music.
I'll go with the Spawn soundtrack.
All right.
I got nothing now. You screwed everything up, man.
You screwed me.
You screwed me. You screwed me.
Screwed me, Brian.
Jack Diesel, heck yeah.
Jack Diesel. So wait, what's the one that didn't work out? Are we talking Green Day Dookie?
Gotta be Dookie because he picked Smash and Diesel's a classic.
I was in a Green Day cover band in 7th grade. So
that's cool.
My first now, if we're going to talk about first CDs here, my first CD was The Prodigy, "Fat of the Land."
That's a good CD too.
Yeah.
Faith
really
No More, We Care a Lot.
One
Screwed one. Was it got a Vince McMahon thing going here?
Yeah. Easy on the government names, pal.
I'm Juan. Just taking a bullet here. All right. Did you guys have any? Let's go dump lists. Did you have any hip hop albums we didn't discuss?
I mean, I would say that very big during I would say 92 to 90, 96, 7. You got to go with the first Bone Thugs and Harmony album. East 1999 is another two. Obviously, Yump put it out there. Illmatic by Nas was another huge hit as well too. I'm trying to blank now.
I'm a big fan.
Anything with Tribe as well too. I loved anything with the Tribe Called Quest as well too.
Yeah, like I said, I talked to My Sock Summer about
huge.
both.
Outcast Equimini is a really awesome album.
Gangstar, Moment of Truth. That's a
Good
fucking
album.
amazing album. Tribe, Midnight Marauders, and then Low End Theory. Like both of those albums are amazing.
You know what I've been digging into a lot, and this might make you laugh, is I've been digging into Master P's Ghetto D, which was a huge. No Limit was huge. In the late 90s. Huge. And hearing back to some of these songs, they got this one song called Captain Kirk.
Far Side.
Yeah, the Far Side. Yeah.
Far Side's really good.
Notorious B.I.G.
Camp Low as well too is another one that was really good.
I really it wasn't during the 90s, but after the 90s, but I really got into jazzy hip hop for a while. So Diggable Planets. Blowout Comb is amazing. One of the best albums ever.
You ever hear this awesome hip hop guy's name was Snow? I'm just joking.
Informer.
Was that the 90s? That was the 90s.
Oh yeah, that was the 90s. All right, pop albums. We kind of already went into that. The one that popped into my head right before we started recording, and I didn't end up picking it. I took Depeche Mode, but Moby Play.
That's a good album.
That whole thing was great.
It
came out September of '99 though, so I don't.
I mean, I was going to pick Connie Crow's August and everything after. Would that fit under pop or would that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That one reached pretty far. They didn't.
I would say another one. I would say another one for grunge. I would say would be a very underrated band. Would be Blind Melon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When they came out with that what was Rain? The song Rain. I mean, it's just such a great. The whole album is great. Yes, I also Korn era. Yeah, I was big on Korn when they came out. All the four.
Great.
When they came out with I say the first 5 albums of Korn was great. After that, it just kind of declined to me. Notable stuff. If now we're going to talk notable stuff, Stone Temple Pilots, The Core,
Plush.
Plush. That one from beginning to end. Peter didn't think I was gonna say any of that stuff. No, STP. I love everything about STP. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. No country cat. I wasn't really big on country in the 90s.
I would have just said Brooks and Dunn and not actually picked up an album. I don't even know. Well, each of us picks our own Shania Twain album.
A couple of awesome albums. Sublime, self-titled.
Oh yeah,
album.
Sublime.
Yeah.
Definitely
a huge-
another favorite one. Yeah,
Pop one, Jewel, Pieces of You. That was a really good album.
Downward Spiral, 9 Inch Nails.
I had such a huge crush on Jewel. Huge crush on her.
Oh yeah, she was awesome.
Okay. Any metal? I had Ministry, Psalm 69.
Ugh,
That's a good one.
Ministry, man.
Faith No More, Angel Dust.
Classic.
Uh, Deftones, Around the Fur.
Yeah, you were saying Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, GNR, Use Your Illusion. I don't know which one I like more. They're both okay. I like Civil War a lot. That was a great song.
I like Don't You Cry on part 2 too. So I'd go with Use Your Illusion too.
Okay. Grunge. Anything that we didn't discuss? I had Mad Season above on my list. I actually just got the vinyl a couple months ago. It's really, really good. If anybody hasn't listened to Mad Season before, it's a couple guys from Screaming Trees, and then
it's
Jerry Cantrell was in that, right?
Yeah, it was Lane Staley singing.
Lane Staley, excuse me.
Chains, and then it was Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Right, they all like hooked up in rehab and decided.
Yeah, it was Mike
McCready
McCready had the bassist in rehab, and what the idea was that they were going to be able to get Lane to come and be like, "We'll all be sober, and this will help Lane, and he'll be saved."
And it was really good though. Like that album is amazing.
Unfortunately, Lane just couldn't stay sober, and that's.
Are we not going to talk about Temple of the Dog?
Temple of the Dog too, amazing album.
It's good. It's good.
I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying because we got Soundgarden and Pearl Jam right there.
You right there.
I am going hungry.
Yeah. It's the only song I know of them.
Well, they had Pushing Forward Back. That was a good song. But okay. Rock. I have a bunch. So
I do too. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. REM, Automatic for the People is one of my favorite records of all time. Green Day, Dookie, we already have had a couple people mention. Radiohead, OK Computer. I had Smashing Pumpkins, but I had Siamese Dream.
Yeah, there's again, I'm a huge fan of Siamese Dreams as well too.
Yeah, Gish is great too.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape, really, really good.
Good one.
Yeah. So one of my Foo Fighters ones, I don't mean to cut you off here. There's and it just barely hit the end of the 90s. Is There's Nothing Left to Lose. Awesome album. I do like The Color of Shape. It is definitely a good one, but yeah, something about that one that just resonated to me. A lot of funny videos as well too. They always made funny videos.
Yeah, they did.
But go ahead, continue with your list.
Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker.
Good one.
And then I get into like the indie stuff because I wanted to mention them just because I love these albums, but wasn't going to draft them because there's no appeal there. Neutral Milk Hotel, Airplane Over the Sea, so good. Modest Mouse, Lonesome Crowded West. They Might Be Giants, Flood. If you haven't listened to Flood top to bottom, just a classic. And then Built to Spill, Keep It Like a Secret. And that one came out like right before the decade was out, so.
Baloney stole the one that I was going to bring up here. You got some Frog Stomp, some Silverchair right down there. Mid 90s. I like their second album, Freak Show, had some pretty heavy stuff on there for Silverchair, and them being as young as they were when they came out, it's pretty impressive. Yep. Sadly, though, they couldn't keep it up. And that's the name of the game, I think, with any band is can you keep it going in one regard or another. So like take for instance Pearl Jam. Maybe their albums haven't been as strong, but you know what they have been strong in is their live show.
Oh yeah,
and their live show still sells more than let's say the Pumpkins.
That's a good one, Baloney.
You know, when the Pumpkins have to back up the Green Day on a tour, that's kind of like when the Pumpkins, I would say, would you say more of an impact than Green Day, or what would you? No. Where would you put that? No.
They didn't put out enough.
The Pumpkins?
Yeah.
They put out like 8 albums.
I still don't think they put out enough. I don't.
I think that they're definitely up there with Green Day.
You
If
wouldn't
not,
say that they're like the biggest band to come out of Chicago? And to say to be the biggest band to come out of Chicago and not be able to like sell out Wrigley Field by yourself?
Biggest band to come out of Chicago.
now we're talking
of
about
them.
Chicago, right? Because it's like
Are we-
you're.
What about the actual band Chicago?
Yeah, what about Chicago themselves? Yeah, there's a lot of great
Not
Chicago
great,
bands.
but one of a big band.
Or
Because
Illinois
let's go down
bands.
the list here.
Come
Styx.
on, what about
Chili
Styx?
Peppers, Soldier Field, Metallica, Soldier Field, Depeche Mode, also United Center sold out. I mean,
Yeah, but you know what though?
Pearl Jam,
I don't know.
Tool,
I-
United Center, Dr. Dre, Soundgarden. I mean, but that's,
Have the Smashing Pumpkins done a really really good album since
no, that's since the
Melancholy?
Devil- since the
That's
Devil,
30. That's 30 years.
no.
No,
And that's
so
why- and that's
I
the
would
same reason
I
why
would
Stone
I would
Temple
argue,
Pilots.
I would argue though that like when they had an I'm trying to think of it right now. When they came out with Machina, the Machines of God, that was another great album as well too. That doesn't get a
to
lot of
Green
love.
Day, and to Green Day's albums, just real quick, they haven't had a good one since American Idiot,
No,
and that's been what 5, 6? They're on their 6th album since American Idiot. So it's a good conversation. I was just curious what your opinions were.
Naked Ray Gun is the biggest band out of Chicago.
Yeah, I would. go
Hey
with
man, I love Naked Ray Gun.
that. They're
I know.
awesome.
I'm not saying I was being
Yeah.
legitimate.
Yeah.
But Jesus
Cheap
Lizard's
Trick.
from Chicago, right?
Cheap Trick is pretty big.
Alkaline Trio.
Sticks.
Yep. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Hey, now you're talking here. Yeah, tons of. I mean, there's definitely tons. See, that should have been.
And all those bands, and
category.
a lot of those
That's-
bands are playing. My point is that the other bands, majority of our bands on this list, still will sell out or an arena on their own.
Yeah.
And the
But
Smashing
Stone
Pumpkins
Temple
are playing it
Pilots-
as
Stone Temple Pilots are coming to town with a band that I should have listed as live, Throwing Copper. I mean, they're
That's a
good
great
band,
album.
a great album.
I saw them live in the parking lot at Miller Park,
Did you?
like 20 something years ago. They were good.
Yeah, that's a band that I wish I could have. See, there's some bands I wish I would have been, I should have saw live. Soundgarden would be one of them. STP would be another one as well too. I didn't get to see them live.
Soundgarden's nuts live, man. It's
yeah,
so loud.
I saw him. I saw Cornell do an acoustic version of Black
Sun.
Days.
Oh, okay.
And you gotta just check it out. Go on YouTube. Anybody who's on here, go on YouTube. It's on. It's his acoustic on Sirius XM. Where
Yep, he did a
Black
bunch
Days.
of stuff like that. He did Nothing Compares
That's
to
what I'm
You.
saying. That
Yeah.
particular one, though, you have to listen to it because to understand how great of a singer he was,
His
and
vocal range is nuts.
it's incredible. It is just as high as Freddie Mercury. It could be just as high as Freddie Mercury. I mean, it's just his sound is just incredible.
Absolutely. I was fortunate enough to see Prophets of Rage at Riot Fest many years ago, a while ago now. And they did a whole, and it was obviously Cornell's already gone. But they did like half of their set. They did a Audio Slave set with Chuck D and Be Real. Awesome. Just
I seen
awesome
them.
stuff.
They opened up for Jane's Addiction and 9 Inch Nails when I saw them. It was pretty good.
Jane's Addiction. That's another good band in the '90s.
It's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, that's all we got here for today, huh?
Yep. Thank you.
Oh. I'm here now. Johnny wins. All right. All right, Johnny, you got anything you want to plug, buddy?
Nope. No, I'm just kidding. Every Monday night, join us on the Chicago Sports Bumcast every 8:00 now. Definitely a lot of sports takes, a lot of joking around, a lot of fuckery going on. So, join us at 8:00 every Monday.
Awesome. Tony, you got all kinds of stuff.
couple things, just couple little things.
I just
here.
recorded. I just recorded 9 podcasts.
Wednesdays, live podcast, music, half hours, hook up on music. Next Wednesday, we got Mailman Jack coming on down to talk about a lot of his favorite music. He says we're going to be talking a lot about ska, or he may be done with ska by then. We're not sure yet. It's going to be good.
Ska.
And on Fridays, we have the At the Show podcast. And this week will be at 7 p.m. and we'll be talking Ghostbusters. So check that out.
Sweet. And that transitions to me talking about Friday. Friday, the reason they're going on early is because I pushed them out of the way, and we're going to do me and Baloney and our guy, Comic Punk Guy, are going to do a preview of this weekend's WrestleMania festivities. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be about 9 o'clock, depending on when I get home from work. But yeah, we're going to go through the matches and just kind of go over what we think. So that should be a good time. Next week we are back with Drafty Pod. I'm gonna start doing weekly every week. So
Cody.
Next week I have Shankster back on, as well as Not Larry, and then my buddy Kevin Thompson will be back on as well. We are gonna do a special Arrested Development draft. So we're gonna go over the underrated brilliance of Ron Howard and Arrested Development. So be on the lookout for that. That's about it. Thank you guys so much for being on. We'll get another music one together because I love bullshitting music with you two. So
Yeah,
we should get a trip to a record store sometime.
please.
Yeah.
Johnny goes to the one down the street from my house all the time.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while because I already told you this. I'll probably spend over $200 there. I'll be there for hours.
I know. If I didn't bring brandy with, I would do that every time too. So
Yeah.
But all right, thanks guys. Thank you everybody in the chat. Yumper, Baloney, Gordo, Missy, Alexis, everybody. Thank you so much. And we're wrapping up here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.